So the Lakers season has officially come to an end after following the Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 games, despite most fans, members of the media, and talking heads taking the Lakers to beat the Wolves in this 7-game series, despite a fair amount of people believing the Lakers to actually be one of the few teams contending for a championship this season, especially after making that blockbuster trade that netted them Luka Doncic, and also the way they closed out the season in strong fashion, finishing with the 3rd seed in the West. Now, me personally, I had the Wolves winning this series. You can go back and look at my series predictions on Twitter, but I will say I was pretty surprised that they got gentlemen swept by the Wolves. Yes, the Wolves aren't a good matchup for the Lakers. Yes, they have more depth than the Lakers do. Yes, they have a more experienced coach, but still, the Lakers have Luka and LeBron. I would have expected a much bigger fight in this series from LA. And so, of course, now everyone is asking, well, who's to blame? Who's to blame for the Lakers' fumbled first-round series? Was it Luka? Was it LeBron? Maybe Austin Reeves, JJ Redick? Perhaps just the roster construction overall? And really, I think it's a combination of all of these. You really can't put this series on one person. There was a lot that went wrong, and no one should be absolved of any blame. That said, while we can sit here and call out Luka's horrendous defense, JJ Redick's rotations and questionable decisions in this series, especially in games 4 and 5, or Austin Reeves going MIA in this series when the Lakers needed him most as that 3rd option, I think it's time to finally start having an honest conversation, though, about LeBron James that a lot of fans probably aren't willing to admit. Let's talk about it. As always, if you're new to the channel and you like this type of content, be sure to subscribe to help the channel grow, and in return, I'll be providing more NBA content like this. Now, I want to be very clear that LeBron James, throughout his career, has been nothing short of amazing. What he has done in his career will likely never be replicated again, where you'll see a player be so dominant, so good and impactful for over 2 decades. And I know some talking heads said that, if LeBron loses in this first-round series against the Wolves with Luka, they don't want to hear him ever being mentioned in the top 5 players of all time ever again, but that's BS. He is absolutely a top 5 player of all time, and to be honest, I don't think there should be any question that he's even in the top 3. When you play at an elite level for over 20 years and have all the accolades to your name that LeBron does, you're a top 3 player of all time. I personally have LeBron number 2 on my all-time list. But here's the thing. When we talk about LeBron's legacy and putting him in that GOAT conversation, which a lot of younger fans believe he is the greatest player of all time, you have to consider his time in LA, which he has now spent 7 seasons with this franchise, nearly a third of his NBA career. And while no one is questioning how good he's been, how dominant he's been, even at the age of 40, what matters so much when arguing the GOAT debate is a player's success in the postseason. And after we saw the Lakers exit in the first round yet again, that is now the 5th time in LeBron's 7 seasons with the Lakers in which he has either missed the playoffs entirely, he's missed the playoffs twice with the Lakers, or his team got bounced in the first round. That's now 3 first-round exits for LeBron in his tenure with the Lakers. Yes, the Lakers won a championship during LeBron's time with the team, which cannot be minimized, and some would maybe argue that it makes up for all the missed playoff appearances and first-round exits, but we also have to remember that was the bubble, neutral courts, season being suspended for over 2 months, very unique circumstances that for a lot of people make that title run not as meaningful. I don't necessarily agree with it. A championship is still a championship at the end of the day, but a lot of people feel that if there was ever an asterisk that should be put on a team championship, it's the 2020 title. But either way you look at it, you now have 5 out of 7 seasons where the Lakers either missed the playoffs or saw first-round exits. Yeah, all the success in the regular season is nice. The Lakers won 50 games this year, first time they've done that since 2020, but it really means nothing if you can't make meaningful runs in the postseason. That's what defines greatness. That's what people remember. That's what establishes one's legacy in being the greatest player of all time. And look, it would be different if LeBron just had a bunch of scrubs around him and there was really nothing he could do to try to carry this team at age 40 to a championship, like what Kobe Bryant had around him towards the end of his career. But LeBron, as of right now, has one of the best players in the NBA. He's a top 5 player in the league. I know he's a flawed superstar because of his defensive woes, but he's one of the most gifted offensive players in the game in Luka Doncic. And the Lakers were gifted this guy by not having to give up too much to get him and still being able to maintain their 3rd option in Austin Reeves. And of course, before Luka, LeBron had Anthony Davis. Again, another flawed superstar, mainly flawed because of his health and lack of availability, but when healthy, he's one of the better two-way players in the game and one of the best rim runners out there. Like, we can't sit here and say that LeBron, simply put, didn't have the right help around him. He has. And yes, some will say, well, what about Jordan during his Wizards years? Was he making deep playoff runs? Yeah, MJ didn't have guys like Luka or Anthony Davis on his roster. And let's also not forget that man took 3 years off before deciding to come back at the age of 38 to play with a young lottery team. It's not in that comparison when LeBron is on a team that is trying to contend for a title. And yes, Jordan had Pippen. Yes, he had Rodman and Horace Grant before Rodman, where they were winning titles. But even before LeBron's time in LA, he had some of the best players in the league around him to help him win his titles. A young Kyrie Irving, who was already a superstar in his own right. Dwayne Wade, who in 2010, when LeBron joined the Heat, was a consensus top 5 player in the NBA. And let's not act like Chris Bosh was washed either at that time. LeBron has had the help, just like MJ did. The biggest difference being was Jordan did more in less seasons in his career. More championships, deeper playoff runs, more playoff wins, and of course, never losing in the NBA Finals. And then the other big takeaway from that series with the Wolves that I feel a lot of us aren't ready to admit because we never thought this day would come was seeing LeBron finally starting to show signs of decline. Father Time finally starting to catch up with him. Now, yes, we know LeBron isn't the player he used to be in his 20s. He's obviously not as explosive or as athletic as he once was, and he's not putting in the same level of defensive effort we saw him in his prime. But he's still playing at an all-star level, an all-NBA level. But in this series, especially in those final 2 games, LeBron looked gassed, struggled to generate offense. He only had 3 points in the 4th quarter of an elimination game, had some bad turnovers, couldn't finish at the rim like we're used to seeing. It was not the LeBron James that we know, especially in the postseason. Now, maybe some of that you can blame on JJ Redick for not finding LeBron enough rest, especially in the second half, but regardless, LeBron James finally started demonstrating that his age is catching up to him, something I think we all knew would eventually happen, but weren't quite sure if it would because he just kept defying Father Time and physical laws of aging. For the first time in his career in the playoffs, LeBron posted a negative net rating when he was on the court per 100 possessions, for the first time ever in his career. And it wasn't just a couple of points in the negative. No, the Lakers were a minus 11.1 per 100 possessions when LeBron was on the court and a negative 21.9 net per 100 possessions when he was on the court. LeBron James isn't the sole problem for the Lakers and their lack of success this postseason. That's not what I'm trying to say. But it's time to start having an honest conversation about LeBron James, not only when it comes to putting him in the GOAT conversation based on his tenure with the Lakers and lack of postseason success with this franchise, but also the fact that this may be the beginning of the end of LeBron James as we know it. That's just my take on the matter. I would love to hear what you guys think, though. You let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.